Hello everybody and welcome to SA Sociology Hub. My name is Thandeka Sibanyoni and in today's video I would like to talk about the first female sociologist. Her name is Harriet Martineau. It's so hard to pronounce her name, guys, in the Ayazi, but we are trying, okay? And I mean, she is called the first female sociologist, but here's a catch. Many people still don't even know about her work. And I think knowledge or education needs to change in that we need to read more of more of everyone's thoughts, both male and female. I think that's going to bring about a change in our society. So let's dive into Mama Harriet and just give this queen her flowers, okay? So who was Harriet Martineau? She was born in 1802 in England, okay? And she was a writer, a journalist, and a social theorist. This woman was a powerhouse, guys. She's one of the first people to apply systemic research method to study society, like before society was even a thing. So despite her being a woman in a male-dominated field, she challenged inequality and demanded that sociology be included in issues, or for sociology to include issues like gender, like class, and race. And so, you know what? I know that we were taught or were told in passing about Harriet Martineau in our, at university, but we were perpetuating the isolation of women in academics because we mention her as a by the way. And in this video, I want to make a redress on that and to just speak about the things that she was arguing for and against and what she also wrote. So yeah, let's dive into her work. The first argument made by Harriet Martineau was that society must be studied holistically. She was arguing that everything in society is connected to each other. And I guess she makes the same argument as Emil Durkheim, right? The connectedness of society, that the different parts are important in society and they feed on each other, right? Or they influence each other. And so Harriet argued that society is interconnected. And so the world cannot just study politics and economics while ignoring gender, family, religion, and culture. And she also argued that the private life, that is your marriage, the household roles, and morality need to be studied just as much as we're studying public institutions. So for example, if you understand a country's democracy, you don't just look at the government, you look at how women and the marginalized groups in society are treated. The second argument by Harriet Martineau was that gender equality was the key to social progress. So yes, she was a feminist, guys. Before the feminist movement was even formed, and she wasn't even identifying herself as one. So let me not give her that. Let me not call her a feminist, because her arguments are mostly looking at holistic society and not just women. Yeah, so no, forget that I said that, right? She was arguing for gender equality, saying that it is important for social progress. And so Harriet was one of the first thinkers to argue that women should have the same rights as men in education, in work, and in politics. She also criticized the idea that women were naturally inferior and showed how patriarchy or patriarchal structures kept women dependent on men. For example, she points out that women were expected to be angels of the house, but had no legal rights, no vote, no control over their money, and no say in politics, but they were members of society. So she was arguing against that. And I guess in that regard, her argument is what has helped shape feminism in the latter years. So Harriet also dissed the US, guys. she argued that true democracy requires justice for everyone. And in her argument, she says that there's a contradiction in the US. They're saying it's a land of the free, but they still had slavery. There's still racism. There's women's oppression, which proved otherwise. You know, she argued that no society could call itself democratic if women and enslaved people were excluded from rights and opportunities. I think from just these arguments, you guys should now see why Harriet was excluded from the founding human beings of society, because she was addressing social issues. And while the fathers of sociology, yes, they were talking about issues, but they were not as direct as this woman was. So, for example, Harriet openly criticized American slavery and called for its abolition way before the Civil War. So you can imagine why this woman was sidelined. And I think we need to speak about this more. We need these kinds of sociologists in our world today. You know, people that will call a spade a spade. The fourth argument from Harriet Martineau is that religion should be studied sociologically. And so Karl Marx was arguing that religion is an illusion, right? He even calls it an opium of the poor. And we'll get to Marx, I think, in a couple of weeks. Very soon, we'll get to Marx. But Marx was just criticizing religion, right? And I guess how the other theorists were arguing where religion was concerned was that religion is good or religion is bad. For example, Marx was saying religion is bad, while Durkheim says, no, he's a structural and functional theorist. So he says, no, religion is good. But Harriet Martineau argues that religion plays a very powerful role in our society, but it can also be used to justify inequality, right? And so she looked at it from a point of like giving religion its flowers and also noting what where religion was failing society. So she believed that instead of societies being guided by religion, it's very important for them to be guided by morality. I'm going to let that sink in. Where do we get morality from? What guides our morality? And so that can also lead to oppression in a certain way, oppression of others. So it's very important to look holistically at what is right and who says what is right, I guess. So complicated, guys. Who says what is right? Who defines morality? The fifth and last point from Harriet Martineau is that sociology should be based on observation and evidence. And so she believed that sociologists should observe, collect data, and analyze societies objectively. So they should not just rely on philosophy. And she also guides how to do field research. And so this woman was just way ahead of her time, guys. For example, she emphasized not just talking to people based on their social class. For example, talking about the society only to the elite. She argues that the sociologists need to talk to everyday people, not just politicians or business leaders. So, have you ever heard of Harriet Martineau, guys? Please let me know in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, to comment, to share, and to subscribe if you haven't joined the Hub Collective as yet. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you in the next video.